Hi, I'm Carol Ann Weaver from Body and Soul Companion, and you are in decision making, discernment and decision making. And just to reiterate what I said yesterday, this is set in the spiritual exercises after week 19, day 1. But this is something you can do as a standalone thing. So yesterday I talked about having a decision that you need to be making. And this week we'll be looking at different scriptures that lend to decision making. And yesterday we looked at Jesus's life and his example of how he was busy, yet he engaged with the Father. He disengaged from people. He engaged with the Father, and then he went out and he knew more of his purpose and plan. So I am going to recommend at the end of this video, I wrote it down, that you go to my video 32.3 and then go to 15 minutes and 35 minutes in and see living in this cycle of grace, talking about Jesus. But I'll put a link to the video at the end of our meditation for today. So we are going to be looking at Mark 1, 35 through 39. And just another example, yesterday was Luke 4, 42 through 44, and today is Mark 1, 35 through 39. So I invite you to close your eyes and take a deep breath. And on your exhale, letting go of any worries or tension in your body. Inhale again. And on the exhale, just relaxing into God's presence. And with your gaze on God, know that He's looking upon you with love. So I encourage you to take some time to receive God's loving gaze on you. Lord, we ask that you prepare our hearts so that more of our day would be directed and in your presence, so that we overflow in praise and service to you. And that, God, we just seek the grace to understand what your will is, that you would help us to know our deepest desires that are given to us by you, so that we can be fully free to serve you and praise you all the days of our life. And I'm going to read that quote I read yesterday just because it's beautiful. It's by Frederick Buechner. The kind of work God usually calls you to is the kind of work, A, that you need most to do, and B, that the world most needs to have done. The place God calls you to is the place where your deep gladness and the world's deep hunger meet. I'll read that one more time. That's my water boiling. The kind of work God usually calls you to is the kind of work, A, that you need most to do, and B, that the world most needs to have done. The place God calls you to is the place where your deep gladness and the world's deep hunger meet. Mark 1, 35 through 39. In the early morning, while it was still dark, Jesus got up, left the house, and went away to a secluded place and was praying there. Simon and his companions searched for him. They found him and said to him, "Everyone is looking for you." He said to them, "Let us go somewhere else, to the towns nearby, so that I may preach there also, for that is what I came for." And he went into their synagogues throughout all Galilee, preaching and casting out the demons. So with this second reading, I invite you to imagine Jesus, and I'll walk you through Jesus. Your Jesus is going to a secluded place, but you're following from a distance and observing him. So you've been with Jesus the night before. And in this passage it says Simon's mother-in-law was lying sick with a fever. And they spoke to Jesus about her, and he came to her and raised her up, taking her by the hand. And the fever left her. And he also that day had done many healings. And so imagine yourself going, tired out from the day. I'm going to sleep where Jesus is sleeping. But it's the early morning and you hear stirring in the room. Where are you in the room? And you see Jesus waking up, sitting upright, quietly putting on his clothes while others sleep. Putting on his sandals. What is he doing? How do you feel about what he's doing? He's just had a really busy day before. So you decide to follow him. So you get up quietly, put on your sandals, and you follow him as he goes out into the early morning. You hear the crunching of the sandals on the dirt road. And you follow him to a place outside the city or the village you've been in. Dawn is just breaking. You follow just far enough behind that Jesus is unaware that you're there, although he's God, he's probably aware. But you observe him in that secluded place. And he's praying. See Jesus praying there. What do you hear? How do you feel? Look around you at this secluded place. Do you see the sky beginning to lighten in the dawn of a new day? And yet you see Jesus continuing to pray. And then you hear a commotion, and you hear the crunch of many sandals on the ground. Simon and his companions finding him. And you hear one of them say, "Everyone is looking for you." And then Jesus turns to look at them. What's the expression on his face? And what's the expression on his companions, Simon and his companions? What do they look like? How do you feel about this intrusion on Jesus' prayer time? And as he looks at them after hearing, "Everyone is looking for you," you hear Jesus say, "Let us go somewhere else, to the towns nearby, so that I may preach there also, for that is what I came for." How do you feel hearing him say that? What does he mean? What's the look on his face? What does the look of intention on Jesus' face look like? So you see Jesus get up from that secluded place and walk out with Simon and his companions. And you see him enter his first synagogue in Galilee. And you see him preaching. What does he look like preaching? And what is he saying when he's preaching? And then see someone come up who's demon possessed and see Jesus cast out the demon. How do you feel? Have a talk with Jesus about what he's doing. How you feel about what he's doing. And then hear him ask you, what did you come here for? Why are you here on this earth? And follow the example of Jesus, finding secluded places to pray. And follow the video. I don't know where on the screen it's going to be, but it's 32:3. There'll be a link to video 32:3. And if you go, it's a repeat of what I just did. It has a Luke passage in it too. But if you go to minute 15:35, it's me talking about the first input part of the cycle of grace and the importance of Jesus' example, and about departing to lonely places to pray when he had decisions to make. Be blessed.